All right, welcome on in everyone to another episode of First CSP, the channel dedicated to bring you the first council shorter patch issued from each council in Scouting America, both past and present. Today we're going to take a look at Nevada Area 329. Council was originally formed in 1929 as a name change from Reno Western Nevada Area 329. Now, I will admit that for a while I've gone back and forth on whether or not to record this episode, as this will be the first time we're ever showing a first issue that is not a 1. So let's head on over to the patch table and let's talk a little bit about the beginnings here with Nevada Area's CSPs. So what has historically been listed as the TA1 or sometimes T1 for Nevada Area was actually a sample sent to the council, a sample set of 24, and those sample CSPs were then issued to participants of the 1971 World Jamboree and potentially a few people from the Nevada Council area that were working at Philmont that summer. Not entirely sure if that part of the story is true. What is generally agreed upon is that that patch was never generally available to registered members. It was never sold. It was just given to those individuals. Again, it's believed 24 of those were made. Of the remaining CSPs that do still exist, they are all, to my knowledge, held in private hands, held in private collections. So we do not happen to have one of those T1s, and again, if it was produced in the same fashion today by our current naming standards, that would be issued as a TA. Samples and prototypes are given the designation TA, TB if there's more than one, TC, etc. Those are not generally considered issues, they're considered samples and prototypes. However, what has always kind of been the case with CSPs from the early designations is what was issued and kind of held historically in older collecting guides has then just been passed forward. They haven't done a lot of going back to revise things. That's also why, some of the first issues for councils in the guides are JSPs from the 1950s, things that predate 1970, etc. That's mostly just because they were set up that way when collecting guides began and they just left it that way. So I do consider personally, and this maybe is my own bias as a collector, what we have here on the table, the T2, as the first regular issue for the council. Whether or not someone considers the T2 the first issue because the T1s are really prototypes or samples, I guess ends up being in the eyes of that collector, etc. But this is what we have. Should we ever have the opportunity, and I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, one of those private collectors decides to break up their collection and then provide someone the opportunity to pass that T1 along. If we ever obtain one, we would certainly do an update and bring that to you on the channel. All of that is a lot to say that here on the table we've got the T2 for Nevada. It is defined with its white border, purple background, white letters, and a solid dollar in the middle. I will make the distinction that if you were to see a T1, it looks very similar to these patches, except it is not filled in the dollar. It is just the raw twill, purple twill behind it that is there. So that's obviously the sample that was created, but it's not what the council went with. These T2s are obviously what the council then ordered after that sample. This was originally in older collecting guides divided into two variations, T2A and T2B. I believe we have those on the table for you. You can see some slight differences, especially in the dollar itself, also in the spacing and text. It's very slight. The original distinctions were that the T2A was dark purple on the background and the T2B was purple. I think that that's not a great descriptor, as the variations in color of twill here are very slight. I do believe that if I've identified correctly, this would have been the dark purple and the purple, so the T2A, the T2B, but everything in current collecting guides has just been streamlined to call these T2s. Show you the back. These are nice and stiff, which is fun. You can see again some differences in the appearance here from the back. Let's see if we can pull our focus back. As far as the black stitching for the dollar in the center. Again, I do think that these are two different production runs that came for the T2. I do really like the purple. Obviously, it's not one that you see as frequently used as a color on CSP, certainly not as the full background. So that's always really cool. Again, just pointing to kind of the thickness where it says $1 along the bottom. You can kind of see that these are potentially different production runs. And there you have it. There's kind of the story with what was the T1 sample. Again, not present here today in the episode. And then what we have for you here, the first regular issue that was available in the Scout store, available for participants in scouting in Nevada Area Council to wear, is the T2 on the table. With that, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. We're back again every single day with brand new episodes of First CSP. We'll be back again tomorrow. Remember, you can always catch our past episodes 24/7 on the channel at your convenience. We've got a host of playlists for you to dive into, whether it's the first CSP issues, whether it's issues specifically with known reproductions, where we try and show you the reproduction next to the genuine CSPs as well, or pre-1970 CSPs, some of those rare issues that you don't get to see all that frequently. Got a host of those playlists for you to check out if you would like. Thanks again to all your support for everybody who's been tuning into the episodes. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.